So after I received the news of Tyler and Savannah's passing, the police officers had some paperwork they had to finish, and one of the things that they told me was I had to sign a paper to send Tyler and Savannah for an autopsy report just because of what had happened. And they told me that if I didn't sign that paper, that they would get the judge to sign over and do it anyways, and it would just make the process longer. So I said okay, and I signed it. And the next few days kind of feel like a blur, but then it was time to go make the funeral arrangements, and everything just seemed to be going kind of fast and slow at the same time. And I had so many emotions that were going around in my mind and in my heart that it was very, very overwhelming. I had to basically move in with my mom. I had an apartment, but I had to completely get everything out, and I moved in with my mom and my stepdad. He was there too. And I slept with mom for thankful that my stepdad was a very understanding person, and he went into the other room and let me sleep with mom because I had to have her. And when it came time to make the funeral arrangements, my dad went with me to make those arrangements, and a few of the other family members came. At that time, I feel like that, I don't know, I had a lot of raw emotions going on. I guess that's normal. But we got to the funeral home, and we were sitting there, and we were in a round, I think it was a round table. To be honest, I can't really remember, but that's what it felt like to me. And I was sitting there, and everybody was talking, and they asked me what I wanted to do with the dad, and I was like, I don't care what they do with him. At that point, I really did not, okay? I'm just being honest. I did not care. In my mind, I was thinking, don't care. And then I heard God speak to me and say, enough people had been hurt. And I thought, what? And he was like, obedience is greater than sacrifice. And I had no idea what he was even talking about. And I was like, I don't even understand what you're trying to say to me, Lord, but what? Obedience is greater than sacrifice. Everyone was hurting at that point. And in my heart, I knew the right thing to do. So I stopped everybody. And I said, we are going to do the funeral all together. Tyler and Savannah are going to be in a casket together. And then you guys can put him in one and pick the stuff out for him. But we're going to do one service. And then my dad was like, Chrissy, are you sure? I was like, yes. I said, God told me that obedience is greater than sacrifice. I have no idea what that means. And I didn't have any idea what that meant until years later. And if you have followed me for a while, you know what I'm getting to. But at that time, I had nowhere else to bury the kids. A lot of people are asking me, why did I do that? Honestly, I didn't have any idea what I was even doing, okay? I just agreed because his family had some private land. They wanted to make a private cemetery, and I just agreed that, they can be buried there because I honestly didn't know where else to put them. I was young. I've had a lot of people come at me and say, well, why didn't you go to the house and check on them? And I would have been down there, and there's no way that anything would have stopped me from going. I would have never turned my phone off. Listen, you do not know what you would do unless you were in the situation I was in. So you can't say that you would do anything because you don't really know. Until you're in that situation, you have no idea. When I decided to tell my storyline again, I talked to my family and they agreed because I have a point that I'm going to get to. And you will understand when I get to that point. But I have to go through this process of telling the certain things before I get to that point. Now, I did not go back to when I was 15 like I did before and tell all the abuse and all that stuff. I'm not going down that. Okay, I'm not doing that again. But these other things that I have told you is part of my story, and it is part of being the voice for my 2 children like I have been for the last 23 years, and I am not going to stop. I'm going to keep on going, and I'm going to keep on being there for them. If you're here and you want to watch, I'm so thankful that you're here. And if you don't, that's okay too. If you want to give a negative comment, go ahead, give a negative comment. Like my son told me last night after I read about 2 comments out of all the comments that people were commenting, he said, Mom, do not let that stop you from doing what the Lord wants you to do. People are going to be negative. You are always going to have that one person or 2 people that are going to say something bad. You keep on going and do what you're supposed to do.